Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for joining me. My name's Kylie and you are listening to the Living the Life of Kylie podcast, an eclectic mix podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. Happy New Year and all of this. I thought it was about time I did another one. Another one of my podcasts. As many of you may be aware, I've recently been diagnosed with ADHD. I was given some medication and nothing has really worked so far. Nothing seems to be making me better or making me less of me than I am. And I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I was just hoping for that all of a sudden, ding, I'm not me anymore. Now I can succeed at life. We're not quite there yet. So I do have another review coming up and I'll keep you updated in relation to that. But it led me to thinking about all of this silly, impulsive, ridiculous, mad things that I've done across the years without actually recognising that it is because of, let's just call it an external, internal, influencey kind of issue that I didn't know I had. I just thought it was me being a dickhead. Sorry, Dad. I'm not allowed to swear on this podcast anymore because Dad says it cheapens me. So thank you, Dad. Maybe I'll just have to come with a warning. Dad, don't listen to this bit. Do we know how to do bleeps on this? We'll just do bleeps. So I've made a few notes, actually, of things in the past that have affected me and things that I've done that you just think, well, that's not normal, but it has been normal for me. So a year ago today, I went to a pantomime with my very best friend Lara and her beautiful children and her husband, and Mum and Dad came with me and Arnie. And it was all well and good, and Mum and Dad went off that way, we went off this way, we parked in different car parks, and that's when I realised I didn't have my keys. I realised they've actually probably fallen out of my pocket while in the theatre. So I went back and it was all locked up. Oh my God. Mum and Dad had already gone. Lara didn't have enough seats in the car to fit me and Arnie in. So she sort of like stayed around until I was able to get hold of Dad. And I was like, Dad, Dad, I know that you're halfway home now. However, I think I've lost my car keys. Could you come and pick me and Arnie up? So by that time, we'd gone to McDonald's and I thought, well, we'd just try and like bunker down in there. So this was a year ago. So it was like cold. January is like quite cold. And luckily it wasn't raining, but we got so excited about seeing some of the members of the cast afterwards that we just, I don't know, I just got so excited and I left my coat on the side. And what I realised had happened is that I'd actually left the coat left the keys minus the coat, picked the coat up, left the keys underneath this great big Christmas tree, which is all well and good. But, I had to wait until someone declared. So anyway, I'm jumping ahead. Dad and Mum come and picked me and Arnie up, by which time we were actually inside the Wetherspoons. But we'd been kicked out because Arnie, only being 7 at the time, wasn't allowed to come into the Wetherspoons. There is an age restriction that applies after 8 o'clock. Thank you so much. So I was out there and I made friends with these lovely girls called Hayley and Alex. Still friends with them on Facebook. Hi, girls. And they were so lovely. They went in and got Arnie a hot chocolate and they just sat with us. And Arnie, by this time, I think it was like 10:30, nearly 11. He was just like really tired. So I had scooped him up, put him in my jacket, and I just sat in the smoking area with them like that. This is great. Wetherspoons Gray's End. If you know it, you know it. If you don't know it, you are missing out, my friends. So that was interesting. That was a year ago today. So it really did get me thinking, what on earth have I been doing with my life? About 12, maybe 15 years ago, I worked in a shop and I went for a night out before. It must have been a Saturday night. And I thought, I know what I'll do. I'm probably not going to be feeling very well in the morning. So what I will do is that I'll pack my bag ready for work the following day. So all I need to do is get up, have a wash, change my clothes, and then off I go again. which in theory is probably one of the best ideas I could have ever had, which is fine. But when you wake up in the morning and don't remember that you've actually done that the night before, you do suddenly realise that you're slowly starting to lose your mind. So with that, I went running downstairs and I was like, I need you to take me to work. And they're like, why? What have you done? I was like, I can't find my keys. For God's sake, Kylie, this happens every single time. Every time you go out, you lose something. And that's true. Like I would lose things, but this wasn't on purpose. I'd purposefully and with all good intentions in the world decided that I will prepare my bag the night before, leave it on the side, ready to go, leave my keys at home so I knew I wouldn't lose them. Alas, I lost my keys, couldn't find them. I spent 6 weeks getting the bus from Vigo Village to Bluewater, which is 1 hour 10 minutes on the 308. Thank you very much. £5.25 a time. That's a return. £3.60 if you're just getting one way. If I was lucky enough, which I was a lot of the time, Mum and Dad would come and get me, but they were fuming. And I couldn't understand what I'd done with them because I didn't know. So that was fun. I actually had to get a work colleague's husband to drive and meet me on the Sunday. Sunday. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. Oh my God, it makes me cringe thinking about it. Hi, I'm wondering what you're up to Sunday morning at bloody 9:15 in the morning. Is there any chance that your husband would drive up your keys so I could open the store and trade? Good work, Kai. Nice one. Bluewater, the first ever phone I ever had, it was a Sagan something, God knows, whatever. It's like a little bubble shape and it was silver and it had like a little aerial at the top. I got a bubblegum sort of case for it. Somehow, I don't even know where. I think I got it from like a charity shop or Clinton's or something. Went to the cinema with Mum and Dad and left it just tucked down the side of the chair, just left it there. Didn't even realise that it had gone because at the time you weren't glued to your phones. It was sort of just lost that phone. That was about 4 or 5 months I was without a phone. Then we went to Bluewater once and I was like, let me just ask quickly because the phone might be there. I might be able to. It was there. Legend. Talk about the power of manifestation because I knew it was going to be there and I never gave up. So there you go. But my memory has always been a bit flaky. Like if I'm going on holiday, I will start packing 2 weeks before. But and then I'll start obsessing about that. But if I'm actually, if I'm in a rush, no, it's gone. Or I'll overpack and overcompensate for everything that I don't need, but I'll end up taking things that I need. Like if I start a new job, going into their offices, you don't know if you're allowed to eat lunch at your desk. You don't know if you're allowed to, bring your own lunch. You don't know if there's like a little lunch spot there, a little canteen, or if there's like a cafe nearby. I get such hunger anxiety. It takes me to the next level. And then I just end up taking so much with me because I just think, well, I can't stand being hungry and I don't like being told when I can and cannot eat. It really gives me a lot of issues. So at school, I used to take in on a Monday morning, yesterday's Sunday roast leftovers. Why not? Block of beef, block of cheese. I used to have like roast potatoes in like a little sachet there and like a little sandwich bag and tinfoil parcels. I used to just sit there with a knife, just carving it up. Would anyone like a bit of beef? Just would anyone like it? No. No one really took me up on the offer. That's fine. But I did get in a lot of trouble. I was always chucked out of the library. My friend Nikki Jennings would vouch me on that. I remember not ever being allowed to eat in there, but my friend Ricky, I was like, look, I've just been chucked out for eating yesterday's roast dinner at 11:32 of the morning. I bet you go in there with this packet of salt and vinegar Walker's crisps. Offer her one. She won't be telling you off, will she? Oh, hell no. So he did. And I wasn't wrong. I was spot on, absolutely right. And there he goes, walks in, packet of crisps, smug as anything, you know, or you won't catch me on the gingerbread man. Oh no, she was like, oh yes, I'll have one. Oh, thank you so much. But you've just told me off for eating a roast dinner. I mean, granted, it's a bit different, but it just blew my mind. We were in absolute hysterics about that. School was tough. School was tough for me. I just spent a lot of my time laughing, messing around, joking, never really taking anything too seriously, because I think if I took anything too seriously, I'd just end up exploding. I had a lot of trouble socially. That's just one of those things which I think most people go through. But I didn't succeed academically. I didn't really succeed socially until year 11. And then year 12, everything changed all over again. So it was just ridiculous. But when I was in year 13, it was like the last day of school. I was like, right, everyone dressed up as pirates. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, great. No one dressed up as pirates. It was just me. So I went there with my stripy top, cut off trousers and some boots. No one else, just me. It was fine. I think maybe 2 or 3 other people did, but everyone's like, yeah, okay, all right, Guy, we'll do that. He ignored me. That's fine. I didn't really, you know, whatever anyway. But in the morning, I always used to go to the it's like a canteen sort of like thing. And they were setting up this morning for exams. Of course, it's the end of the year, you set up for exams. And I walked through to go and get my bagels for Dairy. I did it every morning. And then my drama teacher, no, it wasn't my drama teacher, my English teacher, Mr. Wright, he was laying all the tables out and all the papers on the cards. He was like, oh, Kylie, this is where you're going to be sitting for your English resit this morning. This is where I'm going to be doing what? You're going to be sat here for your English resit this morning. What? What do you mean English resit? What English resit? I didn't put in for an English resit. What am I resitting? What English am I resitting? I've never heard of anything more ridiculous. I was dressed as a pirate. I had a bandana. I had stripy top, cut-off shorts, boots. And you're telling me, 2 plaits, long plaits, and you're telling me that, and a side fringe, you're telling me that I've got to sit here and do an English resit exam of an exam that I don't even remember sitting in the first place. Oh, are you joking? I was like, sir, what are you talking about? I've never done this. What are you talking about? So anyway, we went in and I did sit the exam. I went back out to my friends with the roast dinner crew, and they found it absolutely hilarious, which they would do, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you find it funny? Because it was very funny, but it was the worst. To sit there in the hall at Rootham School, dressed as the flipping pirate with a bandana, the teachers walking back and forth, just sat round with a load of year 11s at the back of the hall, me just sitting there going, well, I don't remember reading this book in the first place. Captain Corelli's mandolin, thank you very much. I wonder if I've still got it up there. Well, I wouldn't have got rid of it, because the hoarder in me says no. But that was horrendous. That wasn't the only time I've sort of come unstuck. I remember homework was always a big thing for me. I couldn't ever sit down and go, right, this is the assignment. Let's write about it. Miss Kelvy was probably the only one, she was my RE teacher, who actually used the same sort of point, evidence, explanation, and would drum it into us. So we didn't really have to think twice about writing these essays, because we could just write them out, because we knew in Genesis, you know, blah, 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 the world was created in 7 days and on the 7th day, blah. And it still stays in my mind now. It is amazing. But when you've got to analyse the lighting of a drama studio and what the lighting represents and what the Lion King and the costumes represent and symbolise, and it's just all a bit much. Right, this hood's coming down because I'm getting really hot. So I didn't really do too well with the written. They did say, oh, you're meant to be getting a star. You're going to get an A star in drama. And I was like, oh, no. I didn't. I got a B. But that's fine. Because Bs are better than probably any of the other grades I've got. I got 2 B's, 3 C's, 4 D's and an E, which I loved because B, you get 2 of, and that's the second letter in the alphabet. 3 C's, third letter in the alphabet. 4 D's, fourth letter in the alphabet, and an E that you just don't really need to think about. So essentially, I smashed it. But A-levels, I got home, I got off the bus, and my drama teacher was sat in Mum and Dad's lounge telling them that I hadn't done any of my coursework that needed to be submitted 3 weeks ago. Well, it wasn't a surprise to me. I knew that. So why are you telling why? Where's the code of, teacher-student confidentiality? I feel like I've been done over there. But no, she was right. I think I got my friends to help me. They always would help me, and I'd sit and go, right, what am I saying? What am I saying for this? What am I doing for this? I just wasn't very good. I just wasn't good. Time scales and deadlines. And then as soon as you miss the deadline, I'm like, oh, I've missed it. So that's fine. I've just missed it. I've done it. It's gone. No. But I can also be very impulsive as well, which I don't know why that would be a surprise. But I knew my parents were going to go to New Zealand 2019 for my dad's 60th birthday. Amazing. All the family were going back home. It's where my dad's from. Dad's been over here since 79, I think it was. No, it wouldn't have been. Well, I don't know. Got married in 1980. I want to say 2. Might be wrong. Might say 1. 2, 1. 2. 2. Yes, it was 2. But, a week before they left, and I text them saying, right, well, I'm booking a flight. And then a week later, I went to New Zealand for a long weekend. Because why wouldn't you? And I was so unwell. The jet lag is real. I'm not a very good traveller anyway in terms of sickness. I had hyperemesis when I was pregnant with Arnie. And it was, for me, comparable to travel sickness, downing a bottle of whiskey, bourbon hangover, a stomach bug, gastric flu, which I think is a stomach bug, and food poisoning and morning sickness. And it just wasn't just morning sickness, it was just constant. So yeah, for ADHD, you either go in or you don't go in. And I just went in. In you go. That was just one of those things I think I just had to do. But now I'm like a professional expert chunder-upperer. It makes no difference to me whatsoever whether I chunder now or later, but it's happening and I can do it on cue. So that is a bit of an issue, actually. But as you can see, I do still have, I'll just show you here, my Christmas trees. So the 28th of December, I was like, right, that's it. I've had enough. I am not entertaining this Christmas shizzle anymore, and started to take down my Christmas trees. All the baubles came off, everything like this. Alas, it is now the 2nd of Janvier, and the Christmas trees are still up, but the baubles are off. So they've been like that now since the 28th, which is 28, 29, 30, 31 to 6 days. I've been... I might just call them January trees, because I don't know what to do with them, and they're winding me up. And all it would take is just 2 seconds. 2 seconds to take those down. That top bit comes off, you fold it up, away you go, off it is. But no, it's just too much for me to take. And this medication, although it's been helping, I actually haven't found any different, apart from initially sort of the anxiety and the feet flapping. I feel like it's slowed me down. My thoughts aren't so manic, although it probably doesn't sound like it. My thoughts aren't as manic, but I feel like my legs aren't working to the rate that I need them to work. So then I just simply just don't. I just go, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I know what I've got, a list as long as my big toe. that I need to do, which I know you probably only fit on like 3 things on that toe, but I've got quite a big toe. General like that one. But I'm writing it down and I'm going, right, okay, I need to do this. I'm going to categorise my life this year. So it's going to be career, finances, home, and something else which I can't remember, which I thought would be really good. And I thought, right, I'll do one thing a day from each of those categories. Oh, I won't do that, will I? No, because then the list is too long and then I just can't do it. And this is where I need to have my next appointment and just go, help me, because I can barely make a meal at the minute because it just overwhelms me too much. It's just, I'm still not, I don't know if it's the Christmas period. I don't know if it's bloody, I don't know what it is. Oh, let me just clear that out of the way. I don't know what it is, but it is something that is affecting me. And I've had enough. So things are going to change, but probably just not yet. So there we go. I think I've chewed your ears off long enough now. I think that will do. But I hope that's a bit of an insight as to what the Jeff has happened over my life to be so chaotic as it is and to be so bloody ridiculous. I lose things. But then it's really funny at the same time. Like, I lose things get put upon me. I end up in these ridiculous situations that you just think, why and how have I got into this? But then it happens again the next time. So I don't ever learn. But what I will say is, it is what it is. And I know it's really tough because I am wanting to change. I'm not wanting to be like this anymore. I'm not wanting to be who I am. And that was really tough before I became medicated. You know, I remember speaking to mum and dad and being in a real state and saying, I just don't want to be me anymore. I can't deal with being me. You know, I can't deal with always being a failure. I've never succeeded at anything in my life. I've never completed anything in my life other than being with Arnie. You know, if I've been able to do something which I'm very, very proud of, and it's being his mum, and I don't mean that in a really like, oh, I'm just so proud to be your mum. I am, because I've never been able to be so in tune with who I am and understanding the struggles that I had, perhaps when I was Arnie's age, as to being able to recognise what needs to be done to help nurture and grow him as a person. So I'm glad to be as insightful as I am. But God, I just want a day off. But then when I get a day off, nothing gets done because then I just can't, and then I'm on the back foot. I'm constantly waiting for the next hyper-focused moment. And as I say, I think it is because of the Christmas period and losing track of days. I think once Arnie goes back to school, which is on where are we now? What day are we on? Wednesday. Right. Last day of school tomorrow, back to it on the Wednesday. Then I can start walking all the dogs again and doing this and going to the post office and doing the merchandise managing. And, you know, I've got some fantastic ideas that I want to present to Patrick and Randy and Marco. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, I can't do this. Why can't you do this? Why can't you do this? What's your problem? So I'm just speaking out loud, really. I'm just speaking out loud. But there's a bit of an insight for you. Wow, you're going to need to lie down after listening to that. Thank you very much for joining me. This is podcast numero 2. I need to work on my languages. I'm very grateful for all of the support that I've received this far. I am very, very grateful. I know it's not always easy to listen to someone that is as fast-paced and manic as I am. I do not belittle. Am I thinking of the right word here? I do not. Oh yeah, I don't overlook the commitment it takes to be listening to someone's rubbish and craziness. But I am very grateful. As I say, it's not always going to be an ADHD podcast. I just wanted to give you an update because when I've launched it, I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. And then suddenly I'm like, what's going on over there? You know, but I am fully invested in this. I I really believe that I can touch the hearts of people. God, that sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But I feel like I can. I feel like I can, and I really want to, and I'm really motivated to do it. But it's just the action of putting one foot in front of the other that I'm finding a bit difficult at the minute. That being said, I got off my bum and I did this one. So, I mean, excuse me being in my little funky, whatever this is called, hoodie, hoodle, what is it called? A hoodle. Whatever it's called, Amazon, 25 quid, thank you. Hashtag, use my discount code for discount, 25% off, hashtag Kai. That's it. Thank you very much. I'm wishing you all a very, very happy new year. Thank you very much again for all of your love and support and all of your patience for listening to me this long. My name is Kylie Ria. You've been listening to the Living the Life of Kylie podcast, an eclectic mix podcast, and I'm very grateful to have you join me. Thank you very much. Until next time, ciao, man.